Previously on FLASHVM.
I just want my car. That's all it's coming down to.
What's that? What?
Look how fucking mint this thing is.
Dude, let's put in work.
I'm feeling the emotion.
Hey, that's a sweet emotion.
Dude, math is hard. If it's in frame, is this in frame?
Yeah. Dude, Dick flavored vape? Ugh, sign me up.
Slaps tonsils. So yeah, I've changed the ride height a little bit. I put heat maker knuckles on the front, some Serial 9 extended lower control arms, changed the ride height up a little bit.
So why'd you choose heat maker knuckles?
Because they're made by some really rad people and they do some really rad things, and I like to kind of set up my car the same way that they do, so it just kind of made sense.
What do their knuckles do different? I mean, does it make the car snappier? What's different about these compared to other JZX knuckles?
Yeah, the rate to angle's a lot snappier, which is kind of like a personal bias car setup deal, but I prefer that kind of high rate to angle, kind of like the B knuckle on the S chassis. This is very similar. I just need to get this thing raised up a little bit and then get the wheels clearanced, and then we can do some real snappy entries, so that'll be fun.
Yeah. So you are gonna drift it?
Yeah, we are gonna do some light drifting.
It's not a show car.
No, I don't.
It is, but it isn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's gonna be in car shows, but it's gonna be a fun show car. We're still gonna drive it like a car. But today we're gonna be changing the wheels out to something a little bit more cohesive, so that'll be kind of nice. Matching set of XC8s, big hypes. You heard it here first. You can break your shit.
Did you do any wheel load clearancing before slamming and putting wheels on it?
Yeah, we did a minor roll out back. I wasn't too aggressive with it. I was just trying to take it nice and slow and easy. Just trying to protect the paint as best I could, but I got enough for my wheel setup right now. I might go back over it later just to give myself a little bit more room for some bigger tires, but it'll work okay for now. Thinking 9.5 plus 20 is a little spicy. Also thinking if I had front upper control arms, it would probably make it fit. Probably raise the front up like a 1/4 inch, back like a 1/4 inch. Needs adjusting.
Give him a little raisy poo.
Yeah. Dude, math is hard.
I'm hard.
So I'm tossing this little spacer on. One, to increase scrub, but I'm limited to my fender. If I had wider fenders, I'd personally run a larger scrub radius, but Main reason I'm doing it is at lock, I'm hitting my tension rod just ever so slightly, so hopefully this is just a little bit of enough room to compensate for that, so. Oh no, I think this jack's sagged. Oh, just barely, bro. I ended up with a bit of an Ebisu spec, but not really. I wanted a little bit lower and fitting within the fender a little bit, but I don't have front upper control arms. I don't have aftermarket tension rods, so for now this will work. It should be drivable. I still need to roll the fenders, maybe drop it back down a little bit, but it'll probably drive really well right now. It's just not the vision I had in my head per se, but that's okay. We can fix this. We can definitely fix this. Basically, the wheel's contacting the tension arm just ever so slightly, even with a little slip-on spacer that we put on. So 9.5 plus 20, a little spicy for stock fenders, but that's okay. We got the slip-on on, and then, yeah, I really need front upper control arms, probably first.
You fucking cheese dick smile.
Anyways, it'll probably drive really well, but there's still some more parts in the works. That's the gist.
Check 1, 2, check 2.
Remember Wayne's World?
So initially, after we brought the car home, we tried 18 by 9.5 plus 20 XT7s with a 235/40/18, and they're way too spicy up front. So they ended up out back for a bit. I didn't have the extended control arms yet, so we went with the 17 by 8 plus 32, and that fit really well. But it's just kind of a dookie spec. The spokes aren't nearly as concave as the other XT7s. And the 215 is kind of a small tire for this big of a car. So, and then if you look at the back of the car, that's what we tried next up front, which was also 18 9.5 plus 20, but with a different tire. This was after the extended LCAs. The track width really screwed me on the extended LCAs. A lot of people don't think about, yeah, you net gain some negative camber, but you also gain a bunch of track width. It's like equivalent to the amount that you extend the lower, that's about as what your track width is also gonna go out, you know? So I didn't think of it. I'm learning, I'm new to this suspension. I'm definitely used to more of a McPherson style on the S chassis. So I definitely learned that I need upper control arms, definitely, to fit anything. Yeah, so next I tried a 17 by 9, and that's a plus 18 on this XC8, 235/40/17. I was for sure thinking that this would be the jam, but without the front upper control arms, I still had a little bit too much poke for my liking. I'm not really trying to have this thing monster trucking that much.
We're also trying to run a good tire. You're running like pretty aggressive, like stickier front tires, just like you do on your S chassis.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference too, is you're not trying to run like a street.
It would have probably
like this.
It would have probably been best to take my time with these mods, but I have a bunch of experience with S chassis setup, so I kind of already knew like what it should be kind of close to. Obviously the cars are not really comparable as far as geometry goes and stuff like that and weight, but yeah, I definitely like a stickier setup up front. Always have. So figured why not? Why would I understeer undergrip and understeer a heavier car, you know, when I already like grip up front on a lighter car? It doesn't really make sense. This car I want to be more so a street drift car, not full devoted drift car, so I do kind of want it aesthetically pleasing to the eye. I love how my S chassis drives in that kind of a style where you kind of reverse rake it, but this car I don't want to reverse rake too heavily because I want it to look really nice from the outside as well. The 13 I have set up for more aggressive style driving, but this I kind of want to be in between.
This is where we insert S13 clip. Here's your S13 clip. Yeah, it's just broken.
with shit all over it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard once you like feel a grippier setup to go back. Even on any chassis, you want to feel that front traction. Right?
And some people don't like a lot of front grip, and they steer with the rear a lot, which is fine. It's all personal preference and driving style. That's all it really comes down to.
Yeah.
At some point, I would like to raise it up a bit and kind of go a little bit more like the 13 route, but right now with stock fenders and stuff like that, it just doesn't really look good with a bunch of ride height and a bunch of poke. For right now, I'm enjoying it as a street car, and I kind of want it to fit that flavor. So now we're going back to an 18. We've transitioned away from an 18 to a 17 to a 17. Okay, sorry. From an 18 to a 17 to an 18 to a 17, and then now we're back to an 18. I just got these Model 5s for my birthday. Shout out Nikki and Farside Luke. He hooked it up. Got some Model 5s.
Shout out Luke.
Yeah, they are 18x9 plus 40. Some decent stock body spec.
And that should give you a little more space to work with, because then you can also add a slip-on and move it away from the spindle, right? So
yeah.
People don't know these cars have a spindle that swings up, which makes wheel fitment kind of interesting with stock fenders. Because you can't push out too far because the fenders, especially if you want to extend it LCA, but then if you have them too sunk in with a certain offset, then
You're gonna be crashing into the spindle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not good either.
No.
I think the stock
I think an 18x9 with a higher offset all around is like money for 100s. Because I have heard that chaser radiuses are a little bit different.
With a stock body with like minimal camber.
Yeah, and I don't
of course
have.
You could run something crazy and do like Oni camber or something, but that's
Yeah.
not really the vibe. So today you're just kind of test fit and see what you can get away with, adding slip-ons.
Yep.
And just making sure it'll drive good and look good.
Yep. We're gonna throw the Model 5s on up front with some slip-ons. Just a little bit of a slip-on. I think it's like a 5 mil or whatever this is down here. And that's literally just to clear right here, because it is like papers width right now with the Model 5 in full droop. We already kind of know by the design of this caster arm right here that I'm gonna definitely be hitting that at full lock with knuckles. But I have some IS300 caster arms on order on the way, so this will be addressed. The IS300 caster arms have a little bit larger radius here, so it gives you a little bit more clearance for steering angle. X90s and X100s, I believe 110s share the same caster arm as a SXE10 or a IS300 for us American folks. So,
cool.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Yeah.
So I just realized something before we went on a test drive. I need to increase my damping a little bit. I need to slow the shock speed down just a little bit to compensate for the extended lower control arms. Now, Rich Whiteman posted to his Instagram not too long ago about explaining AA arm and increasing, decreasing leverage on the LCA can actually effectively change the spring rate. Pretty new to this kind of stuff. I'm definitely more McPherson strut background. So what we're gonna do is just go up a couple clicks, see if it feels a little bit more firm. I did notice that after I did the extended LCAs, it felt a little bit more soft up front. And I didn't really understand why until Rich's video recently. So that really painted a good picture. So thanks, Rich. I don't have springs to swap out, so we're just gonna give it a couple clicks, all right? Insert click noises. All right. That one was actually 2 clicks off the bottom. That's my girl.
Freedom over fame. Freedom over cycle stays the same. Freedom over fame. Freedom over fame. Freedom over fame. The cycle stays the same. Freedom over cycle stays the same. Freedom over fame, the cycle stays the same.
Welcome to FLASHVM. Testing her out today?
Yes, big testes today, and not the ones in your sack.
Not the ones in your pants. Big testes. Cute testes. Yeah. Is it rubbing? Oh, you grabbed that fender too.
Fucking hey, man. I just want to drive.
Dude.
It's gonna come in handy.
So we're back from the track. Went really well. I'm really excited with how this chassis is going to perform. Gonna is the key word. I'd like to address some things. I had some really severe rubbing issues in the front that would make the car over rotate. It's like you're dragging left foot brake and it just pivots right around the nose, so that's not good. I ended up raising the car a little bit to try and just band-aid fix it for the track, but found out the spring rates on this car not the best, 12K, 8K, so we're gonna bump those up 22, 24, 26K up front, something like 10, 12 out back, so we'll touch on that in a later date. Right now I just raised the car up like I said and just hit up the damping a little bit extra, and then once the car started clearing in the front end, oh my god, it felt amazing. I love this car, so I'm really hyped with it. The only thing I would like to kiss on is just the toe. So the problem I'm having with the toe basically is the outer tie rods are too long and it's a rear rack, so basically it's pigeon toeing in. So I have too much toe in right now and I can't shorten the tie rods into the inners any further because the length's just overall too long. So I'm gonna go down to an SXE10 like IS300 outer and then get my toe into spec. I mentioned I'd like to get it within like 0, probably start with 0, see how it feels, maybe a little bit out. I know these cars might like a little bit out, but kind of a trial and error thing, personal preference, just feeling it out, but super hyped on it. I forgot to mention one thing. There was one severe casualty on the car and I'm pretty upset about it. This is what happens when you spin out. Things go flying. Insert B-roll clip of me fucking eating shit and dying. Thanks for watching FLASHVM. Next update on the vehicle, we'll be doing more drifting. Go figure, right? Oh, truth is, the car was paid for by Palmer at Goodest Cast.
Invoices in the mail, don't look at it.
Yeah, don't look at it. There's a couple zeros.